Derek Wittenberg, 20 minutes away from perhaps the NEC final. Last year in his first season as a head coach, Wagner struggled going 11-16. They didn't even make the conference tournament.
Well, he's doing a great job. He's building the program. Obviously, it's got it going in the right direction. Just doing a great, fabulous job. His energy and enthusiasm is contagious. You can see it in the players.
Wagner basketball to begin the second half. They lead it by 4 points.
See what the emphasis is coming out of halftime. See if they're going to try to get it into Jermaine Hall. Look at the effort of Haber Reyes.
Dye, front rim.
Surprised he got that open of a look. You know that Coach Gannon was saying, please step up into Diedrich Dye.
Reyes directing traffic. Howard will be shooting too.
Nice job by Stephen Howard, and you know that he was going to get the opening possession. He received about 4 consecutive screens, finally got the ball, and got Jeff Clotter in an awkward position and created the contact.
First foul on Clotter. Stephen Howard, very distinctive look going. First team all-conference player. Top 15 of the country in scoring. And he makes his first.
He's really had a wonderful 2-year career at St. Francis, from Jefferson Community College up in Watertown, New York, in my neck of the woods, way upstate New York. Really been a terrific find for the staff at St. Francis.
He led the country in scoring in Division III up there at Jefferson. Howard makes them both. He has 10. A 2-point game, closest it has been since the opening moments of the game.
There's the pressure.
Richie Dominguez tried the fancy stuff on the dunk.
How can you do that? Why so cute? This game is too big to be cute.
Dominguez whips the rebound away from Hall, and a foul on Jermaine Hall over the top.
Coach Richie, he's played so well, but that type of mental error, these baskets are too important. Watch that, great steal, but he tries to just do the one hand a little too cute, and just make the easy dunk.
That would have tied it up. Clifford Strong is back in there, and a blocking foul on Jermaine Hall, trying to slide in front.
Good call by Jackie Loeb right there. Jermaine Hall shifted his feet at the last second. Watch this, Cliff Strong put it on. Last second, turned his body. Contact was made. Good decision by Clifford Strong.
Strong playing with 2. Now Jermaine Hall also with 2 fouls.
Good pass by Abraham Reyes. Nice extra pass to Dominguez.
Plenty of time with the shot clock. Reyes gets the roll.
Big time driving hook shot by Haber Reyes. Gotta love it.
We are tied up at 37. The last tie in this game was 13-13.
The defensive intensity of the Terriers. Look at them, they're getting in the passing lanes. They're working very hard, giving Hall some space, teasing him.
Missed the long 2.
Not the right shot in that possession. That was a critical possession for the Seahawks. They could have really worked it. They did not want to lose the lead.
Reyes is like a point center, always finding the open man. Strong, caught underneath. Nunn is hammered by Jefferson.
Great effort by Greg Nunn. First on the drop-off to Cliff Strong, and then retrieving the miss by Strong. Great effort. Greg Nunn right here. Tough pass to the big guy right there. Good pickup for Strong. And the little guy, Greg Nunn, hanging around, creating a contact.
First foul on Jefferson. He also got part of the basketball. Nunn hits the first. Yves Gabor back in there replacing Jeff Clotter. Clotter was so hot yesterday, but not getting a lot of open looks today. Greg Nunn, second in the league in assists, 4th in assist-to-turnover ratio, 6th in steals.
We already talked about him being the Defensive Player of the Year in the Northeast Conference, as they're going to apply some of that defensive pressure right now.
The Southpaw makes them both, 7 points for Nunn. St. Francis takes the lead.
There's a lot of confidence in the Seahawks. They're young team. Let's see if they can weather this, see if they can handle it, see if they can play with some confidence, defensive intensity. That's not the play. That's Marvin Jefferson is not the scorer you need at critical juncture.
Nunn will slow things down.
Watch the pass now. Watch the pass.
Nunn left open. Foul on the rebound try against St. Francis.
Wagner's doing a nice job boxing out. They're doing a better job on the offensive backboard than St. Francis. Obviously, a lot of pressure on Marvin Jefferson to drive Clifford Strong back away from the glass.
That last foul was on Stephen Howard, his first. Jefferson starts but does not score a lot. They get it over to Courtney Pritchard. Pritchard on the run.
Nice outlet before he came down by Cliff Strong, with advantage.
Nunn rejected by Jefferson.
Indecision right there. I don't know if Greg Nunn was thoroughly confident with this decision. He didn't love it. He's always looking to make the play. Good defense by Jefferson.
St. Francis, New York by 2. Howard way off the mark. Nunn with another rebound.
There's that bad angle again. You got to take a couple dribbles down towards the baseline to create a better angle to get it into the post.
16:30 left in the ball game. 39-37. A little bit of a lower scoring game than we expected.
Eyes are a little tight. Arena set type setting.
Jermaine Hall.
Nice job by Reyes. He's doing a good job defensively going straight up.
Dominguez stripped by Cabor. Nice defense.
Nice effort by Eves right there. Eves hustling hard, beating him to the spot. And the hands out, being aggressive.
Looked like it may have gone off of Dominguez's knee, but St. Francis gets it.
Wagner playing 2-3 off the underneath out of bounds. Shifting back to man-to-man right now. Look at the space for Reyes.
Hayworth Reyes misses from in close.
Get the ball to Hall in transition.
Hall using the glass.
That's a great job. That's where you can get it to Jermaine Hall off transition, off the secondary break before the defense sets up. Good play by Eves Gabor getting it into the big guy.
10 points for Hall. We're tied up. When Jermaine Hall hits his average of about 18 a game, Wagner's 10-1. Stephen Howard answers back.
There's a guy that can put up some numbers also. You can hear Richie on the block from 3, and there Stephen Howard showing his in-between game.
Howard into double figures. Nobody picked up Pritchard.
Exactly. Coast to coast, the hard way took the scene through.
41 all. Just over 15 minutes left in this semifinal game. The winner plays tomorrow on ESPN2 against the winner of the Monmouth UMBC game later tonight. Broken up by Cabor. He has played well in this tournament. Pritchard for 3. Howard pushed on the bounds.
I often wonder if that's a good timeout or not. We'll have to see if St. Francis needs that timeout later in the half.
Got it off in time. Derek Wittenberg didn't love the call, but St. Francis bench will talk it over. We are tied at 41. Neither team close to the bonus.
Coach Gagnon getting them together right there, saying, hey guys, let's just play good, solid basketball. And from Wagner's standpoint, they went into halftime. They lost a little bit of momentum. I don't think they can feel so bad. I think if you asked Coach Wittenberg before the game, hey, 15 minutes to go, score tied, would you take it? Hey, let's play a good 15 minutes of basketball. We're explosiveness, but once again, the key, please rebound defensively. Don't allow second shot opportunities. Clifford Strong has been very, very quiet.
Derek Wittenberg, the former assistant at West Virginia, Colorado, Georgia Tech, wants his troops fired up. Field goals by the half. Both teams struggling here in the second half. St. Francis was hot in the first.
Got a little double team here in the backcourt. forward advancing the ball. Might be susceptible to a turnover. Action off the ball.
Dominguez knifing through the lane.
How big has Richie Dominguez's driving ability been so far today? Wow.
16 for Dominguez. St. Francis by 2.
Last year on this floor in the quarterfinal, Richie Dominguez had 33 points against Monmouth.
Gabor for 3. Rimmed out. Dominguez saved it. Courtney Pritchard. Wagner going cold from downtown.
Well, that's their game, though. They're going to keep on shooting them. They're either going to get it inside the hall or shoot the 3. Coach Wittenberg gives virtually everybody the green light.
Seahawks 5 of 19 from three-point range.
Now Dominguez is posting up. What isn't he doing?
Oh, baby. Richie Dominguez with 18. Diedrich Dye answers back and one.
An uncanny ability to finish difficult plays. Diedrich Dye. Diedrich Dye says, hey, I'm feeling it tonight. All other guys getting tight. I'm going to start taking over.
Dye has 18.
Slicing and dicing. We saw a great play in the first half, but throughout this entire season, he's great at those scoop shots going to the basket. Very, very impressive.
70% free throw shooter, completes the traditional three-point play. Official timeout, 13:33 left in the second half. Great game. St. Francis, New York on top of Wagner, 45-44. We'll be back.
The University of Maryland, Baltimore County is the total package. UMBC is ideally located just off I-95 in suburban Baltimore, 10 miles from downtown. UMBC is large enough to provide excellent training and research opportunities, yet small enough for close faculty-student intervention. From visible President Freeman Hrabowski to a diverse student population to supportive alumni, there are people at UMBC who make things happen. UMBC is clearly a campus on the move.
In 1939, RCA introduced television to the public at the World's Fair. Color came to television in 1954 with RCA's form. Digital satellite TV became a myth. The future of television is high definition, 6 times sharper than...
The people who brought you the television now bring you the next generation, making television as exciting as it was the very first time. RCA, changing entertainment again.
St. Francis University in Pennsylvania's beautiful Laurel Highlands will help you reach your potential. We offer an outstanding liberal arts education in a values-based environment. 98% of all graduates are employed or in graduate school within 3 months. You'll work hard, but with more than 60 organizations and 19 NCAA Division I sports, you'll play hard too. Call St. Francis University at 1-800-DIAL-SFC. St. Francis University. Reach higher. Go far.
St. Francis, New York on top of Wagner by 1. 13 and a half minutes left. A real nail-biter so far. Richie Dominguez has been great. 18 points for the Terriers as they try to advance to the NEC final. Knocked out by Wyatt, it looked like. And St. Francis will keep it.
A lot of time on the shot clock. Underneath out of bounds. Wagner's going to change it up a little bit, play a little 2-3. That's a 2-3 zone. Keep an eye on the shooters. Stephen Howard, Richie Dominguez. Now they're shaping back into their man-to-man defense.
Greg Nunn, one of 4 seniors out there for St. Francis. This is their last chance. St. Francis, in their 100-year history of college basketball, has never been to the Big Dance. First year they've ever won their conference title. Dominguez has 20.
See, that's a veteran point guard, though, just looking for his hot hand. Greg Nunn had tunnel vision trying to find Richie Dominguez. Nigel White, the outlet against the press.
Wyatt, a bold move, but a jump ball.
Outstanding call. Ed Corbett, one of the best in the country right there. Outstanding call.
Ball was tied up. St. Francis gets it via the possession arrow.
Haven't noticed the officials at all tonight. That's always a good sign. But let me tell you, Eddie Corbett is one of the great ones in the country.
Reyes too strong for the lay-in.
The passing ability of your 6'10 center.
Well, communication by the officials gives the ball to Wagner.
I like that. I like that when they look to each other. When they're blocked out or boxed out, they just don't assume. Jackie Loeb got some help on that call. Wagner retains.
Pritchard in there. Solomon Edwards takes a rest.
At this juncture of yesterday's game, Wagner was down to LIU, and Yves Kapoor hit big threes, and so did Courtney Pritchard. Let's see if they can bring him back a little bit today.
Dietrich Dye left open. He's only missed 2 from three-point range. Pritchard can't follow. Wagner all over the offensive glass.
Yeah, this is the advantage that St. Francis is supposed to have. Wagner doing a good job.
A poised possession. Ball can't convert.
Nice feed. Jermaine Hall been making them all year.
Second in the league in field goal percentage, but he couldn't hit that one. Rebounded by Wyatt, the freshman. St. Francis by 5, their biggest lead.
They got Clifford Strong battling Jermaine Hall, because you know that's an emphasis coming out for Coach Wittenberg and the Seahawks. That's his 3rd foul for Clifford Strong. He hasn't gotten to the flow all evening, but Coach Wittenberg right there is going to say, hey, if we don't got the 3, give Jermaine Hall his touches.
11:30 left in the game. 49-44, St. Francis on top. NEC basketball on Fox Sports News.
TV? Yeah. Watch this.
RCA's experts understand you want the sharpest picture possible. So we developed the RCA digital monitor and receiver. The best picture today and unsurpassed high-definition quality for tomorrow. RCA, changing entertainment again.
In the year 444 AD, the Incas were convinced they had angered it. In 1978, it destroyed top-secret spy satellites. In 1989, it knocked out Eastern Canada's communications. Every 11 years, the sun erupts, hurling pieces of itself directly at us. It's called Solar Max, and it's back. Witness the awesome power only in the IMAX Dome Theater at Liberty Science Center. Solar Max, here comes the sun.
Buy a new Polaris ATV and choose one of these hot, pure Polaris accessories. Or choose payments as low as $48 a month. Call 1-800-POLARIS for your nearest dealer.
Well, the weather outside is frightful, but it's heating up in the Sovereign Bank Arena. St. Francis leads it by 5 in this semifinal matchup, and Paul Dottino has a special guest.
Well, you know, Dave, the NEC for Kids is a very special program whereby a lot of youngsters get to come out to college basketball games such as this. John Lautersdorf is from Blow Up, a Battle of the Bands winner here down in southern Jersey, and all the proceeds went to the NEC for Kids program. And John, congratulations. I guess the influence has to be you too, right?
Thanks. I mean, we appreciate it. You know, it's good for us to get involved. This gives us an opportunity to do what we do and still help out. And we're all actually big basketball fans, so.
Well, I could tell because you guys have been hopping and bopping back there with the instruments.
We're having a good time.
All right, back to the guys.
Paul, thanks. Jermaine Hall misses again from inside, but Wagner on the offensive glass.
Yeah, it's been the Nigel Wyatt show on the offensive backboard.
Jermaine Hall.
Great job by Wyatt, giving the Seahawks another possession, and Hall was able to finish.
12 for Hall. The sophomores on the All-NEC first team. Wagner down 3.
Defensive matchup right here. Jermaine Hall on Stephen Howard. This is matchup zone defense again. Sometimes there's a little lack of communication. Allowing for open threes. You got to identify Morgan, Dominguez, and Howard. Nice pass.
Reyes and one.
Outstanding feed by Dominguez to Reyes, taking it right up and through Jermaine Hall.
Reyes doesn't shoot a whole lot, but he had his mind made up that time.
Nice feed. Nice catch by the big guy going down and taking it strong. Reyes has played well today because he's somewhat contained Jermaine Hall. He's working hard, very hard defensively. And we always talk about what a great passer he is.
Important point here. That last foul was on Jermaine Hall, his third. Reyes can convert the three-point play. 51-46. St. Francis, New York leading.
Look at Reyes battling in the post, trying to get around Jermaine Hall. And some offensive flow. Need a good look by the Seahawks right now. Pritchard hasn't been able to drive the ball this game as successfully as he has in the previous two contests.
They're giving up the three. Pritchard gets the roll.
In my face, Courtney Pritchard showing a little bit of different game.
Morgan lost it. Wagner basketball down two.
Remember, Pritchard hit a huge three along with Kabor yesterday at about the same time. Courtney Pritchard and Nigel White, a couple of freshmen against these seniors, are really battling very, very well.
Looks like we will have a photo finish here at Sovereign Bank Arena. 2-point game, 9:50 left. Ball feeds Kabor. Didn't get the roll that time. Good D by Greg Nunn.
Another timeout. We're going to see if that's wasted. That's a couple of somewhat wasted timeouts by the Terriers to retrieve their possession or regain their possession. See if that comes back to haunt them later in the half. Right now, what's Nigel Wyatt's emphasis? I don't know if you can see this, but look at him. He's just taking out people. He's played very, very well.
Nunn with the stick him on his hands like Lester Hayes in the old days for the Raiders, just pawing that one and stealing it.
Can't say enough about Nigel Wyatt. He's a coach's dream tonight. He's really doing an awful lot of little things. He's helping Wagner break the press. He's doing a good job on the backboard. He's keeping it alive. There he is, only a freshman. Staten Island product.
Paul Dottino has something for us. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, Dave, Coach Derek Wittenberg has been telling his Wagner troops that the St. Francis is tired. Now, I may not necessarily see that, but he is convinced that they are, and he's screaming at the Seahawks, all we got to do is finish because they are running out of steam. He specifically wants the guards to be getting free off of screens, figuring that the Terriers won't be able to keep up. Back to you, fellas.
Thanks, Paul. I agree with you. Perhaps just a psych job by the coach.
I think he's great at that. I think he's great at motivation and psychological advantage. That's his coaching style.
Howard throws up an air ball from 3 feet. Kabor comes away with it.
They just haven't gotten on the offensive backboard as Wyatt takes him out of the screen.
Another missed three by the Seahawks. Wyatt comes over the back, a personal foul.
Dedrick Dye's got to get some touches. He had an unbelievable first half. They need to run him off some screens and get him some looks when he's not dribbling the ball up top. Watch his screen off the ball. That's a legal play. It's one of those where the other guys on defense aren't next to you yelling, screen right, screen right. You can really get wiped out. Look at Wagner's not sitting back. He's saying, hey, we're coming after this victory. We're not going to lay back and hope we win. We're going to do something about it.
8:48 left in the game. St. Francis, New York by 2. Jason Morgan missed the three ball. Howard is fouled.
That's pretty much what I thought would happen all evening, but until now, Wagner's done a very good job blocking out because the St. Francis Terriers have a major size advantage and can burn them on the offensive backboard. We thought it would be Clifford Strong all night. This time it's Stephen Howard who has a major size advantage.
Second foul on Pritchard. Stephen Howard. 32 against Wagner on the 15th, 20 against them just a few days ago. 12 points today. One thing to keep an eye on, Cap. Diedrich Dye, 4 of 6 from three-point range. The rest of the team, 2 out of 16.
Yeah, but they just keep on shooting, and Coach Wittenberg gives them the green light. If these guys can nail a few, they're going to get themselves a W, a huge win tonight. Coach Wittenberg's all about confidence. He's letting his guys go, hey, you guys play loose. We've got 8 minutes, 8.5 to go here. Let's play loose. These guys got all the pressure on them.
He trusts his talent. Dye breaks up that play. Dominguez left open. Missed the three. Pritchard on the boards.
Good job by the point guard getting in there, checking out. See if Hall can get a touch. Everybody at Hall or Dye, their main scoring threats.
Wyatt on the block, knocked away by Dominguez.
Not really his game. He's a face-up big man. They had some contact there.
8 minutes left. Dominguez again and again. 22 points.
Fabulous pass there by Greg Nunn. Easy penetration. Both teams need to contain the penetration of the perimeter players.
St. Francis by 4 over Wagner. Jermaine Hall.
2 days, Jermaine Hall has attempted 6 perimeter shots. He's 0 for 6. Needs to get down on the block and take it at. Papers raised.
Greg Nunn looking to lead the Terriers to the NEC final. That would be 9:30 tomorrow night on another network. On ESPN2. Dominguez gets the friendly roll on that soft rim.
Exactly. Did you see how much give was on that rim?
24 points for Richie Dominguez as St. Francis, New York takes their largest lead. The Brooklyn faithful loving it. It's 55-49 with 7:07 left. Here's Greg Nunn leading the Terriers.
Greg Nunn slicing down the lane. A little subtle push off, a little touchy. Pushing him into that, but Hall was going to give the help anyways. And watch Dominguez right here, facing up, and he can just elevate over the smaller players. Doing it all this evening, Richie Dominguez.
Regular season champion in the Northeast Conference has reached the final 16 out of 19 times before this year. That's 84% of the time. And the regular season champ, who in this case would be St. Francis, has won it all 13 times. That's a pretty good ratio. That happened last year as well for Central Connecticut.
I did not know that.
So, history on the side of St. Francis, New York.
Big possession, out of timeout. Let's see the type of look the Seahawks can get. Very big possession. They're trying to get Hall up top. Carter's back in the game. You can bet they're looking for him from 3. Shot clock winding down. This isn't exactly what they wanted.
8 on the ticker. Diedrich Dye. They'll be shooting 2. One thing about Hayworth Reyes, the center for St. Francis, he doesn't give up after the whistle and he blocks the shot after a player's been fouled. That's the second or third time he's done it to perhaps save a basket.
We talked another little thing that Hayworth Reyes does. He really, he's one of those guys you don't talk enough about, but boy, he does all the little things. We talked a lot about his passing. Has really been very effective. There's Stephen Howard. Diedrich Dye has a little advantage quickness-wise. He decided, hey, shot clock's winding down. I'm going to take him off the dribble. Forced Howard into the foul.
Dye makes the first. He has 20 points today. Just a sophomore on the all-rookie team last year here in the NEC.
Diedrich's a smart kid. He knows it. He's feeling it tonight.
Pretty good guitar player, too, as we saw at halftime. St. Francis, New York on top by 4. We'll be back.
Hey, it's me, Steve. Look, we've got to talk about Dad. I think it's time he had his own computer. And right now, you can get him a complete Dell system with an Intel Pentium 3 processor, kind of like mine, for a little $829. And if you order right now, you get a free DVD upgrade. And you'll get TurboTax software for free. So Dad can do something useful, like our taxes, so we don't have to depend on Uncle Saul. Because, Mom, I know how much you love Uncle Saul.
Get this complete Dell system with a powerful Intel Pentium 3 processor for only $829. Plus, you'll receive TurboTax Deluxe and Quicken Deluxe free, and will include 1 year of DellNet by MSN Internet access. If you call or go online now, you'll also get a free DVD upgrade.
British Airways introduces a revolutionary view of business travel. The world's only fully flat beds in business class.
And Mr. G was at the game. St. Francis pumped up 55-51. The Terriers lead with 6:40 left, and they have never advanced to the NEC final. 0-5 in semifinal matchups. Today, they might break that jinx.
6:30 remaining. Possession's going to be big. See what they got out of the timeout. He was getting a look.
Nunn was just poked in the eye by Clutter. Nunn is hurting. 12 on the shot clock. Nunn takes it right down the lane anyway. And a foul after the fact.
Nunn is saying, hey, I was trying to tell him I got jabbed in the mouth, but I think the officials did a good job of not stopping the action. If they don't see blood, you need to play on. Greg Nunn, being the senior at critical time right now, has to know that. Good feed.
Nunn is bleeding. Then Hall gets the basket.
Great feed by Pritchard, but where was the help on the defense on the offside by the Terriers?
2-point game. Jason Morgan, big three.
Jason Morgan has a big-time three-point ability. He's been kind of the forgotten man so far tonight, showing up big.
Bolsters the lead from 2 to 5. Wyatt creating some space for himself, and he's fouled from behind by Dominguez.
Little advantage by Wyatt right there, sensing he had Dominguez on him, taking it hard to the basket. Good feel by Nigel Wyatt.
Both teams in the bonus from here on out, but Wyatt was shooting, so they'll go to the line for 2. Paul Dottino, what's new?
Hey, Dave, out of the last time out, Ron Gagnon told the St. Francis club to double down on Hall every time he gets the ball. I don't want him to beat us with any hoops. I'd rather Wyatt get the ball. Well, Wyatt got the ball, and they fouled him. Back to you.
Thank you. Wyatt makes the first of 2, 63% shooter. Quarter checks out.
Well, what Jermaine Hall has to do is identify those double downs and kick it out, because Wagner is the top three-point shooting team in the NEC.
Oh, Dominguez pulled it off the rim.
A lot of moans in the crowd, but it was falling off.
Very close indeed. Derek Rittenberg beside himself. 58-54, St. Francis, New York.
Backing off race, teasing him.
Morgan again. Another three-pointer.
Big time threes. 2 in a row, Jason Morgan.
His first 6 points of the game, they have come within the last minute. St. Francis takes their largest lead. Hall against the double team, can't make it.
Nice defense by Rays right there. His hand on the ball. Wagner's going to be aggressive.
61-54.
That's what the Terriers have. They have a lot of weapons. You talk about all these first-team all-league guys, and here comes Jason Morgan off the bench, banging big threes. Shot clock at about 12.
Nunn splits the defenders, finds an open Morgan. 3 in a row! Jason Morgan for St. Francis, New York. Timeout, Wagner. St. Francis takes a 10-point lead.
What a display that was. Great play by Greg Nunn, splitting the trap up top and finding the hot hand of Jason Morgan. Big time baskets.
Morgan has scored the last 9 points for St. Francis after not having scored in the game, period. A junior out of Willingboro, New Jersey.
Right down the road. Willingboro, New Jersey is right down the road here from Trenton. See how he split that right there? Greg Nunn, the senior, finding Jason Morgan. Effortless shot. Relaxing on Jason Morgan. A little confusion right there. Reyes with the good pass, but the unselfish assist leading to the good shooting of Jason Morgan.
3-point shooting in the second half. Wagner abysmal. St. Francis has been pretty darn good. All 3 of those courtesy of Morgan. The one thing that I mentioned briefly, Capper, that it doesn't show in the replay, Nunn waved Stephen Howard away. He recognized that Morgan was the hot guy, and he created a play for Morgan.
Senior leadership. 4 seniors in the starting lineup for St. Francis. Makes a big difference. Good kick out with a hot hand.
Dietrich Dye missed it, but there's a foul on the rebound try against St. Francis. It's against Haybrith Reyes.
Didn't see the contact, but let's see what we got on the replay right here. Reyes. Good kick out. Dietrich Dye can drain it. He showed his arm. Whenever you show your arms when you're a big guy, you always get called. You got to do all your contact with your lower body. People can't believe it.
Third foul on Reyes. Jermaine Hall at the free throw line. And he nails the front end of the 1-and-1. 15 for Hall.
Wagner is a fine condition team, so you can bet they're just going to turn up their intensity. 94 feet, 4:03 remaining. They're going to go after it right now defensively.
Hall makes him move. 8-point game. 4:02 left. St. Francis just needs to play smart.
Smart, intelligent basketball, but there's an awful lot of time left. Might have gotten away with a shuffle. Wow, everybody backed off of Greg Nunn. Great decision.
Can't do it when he's 5 feet away. Nunn has 9. Again, a 10-point lead, matching the Terriers' largest. Solomon Edwards caught in the air.
Richie Dominguez has to be smarter than that. They have a 10-point lead, 3:35 remaining. Solomon Edwards was elevating, confused in the air, and Richie bailed him out. Look at him. He's saying, look at the time, Richie. Please, just play smart. Please.
Edwards hasn't scored in the tournament. And Dominguez, who has been lights out with 24 points, now has 4 fouls. Edwards, a sophomore guard from Southfield, Michigan, hits the first.
Edwards is in the game for defensive pressure purposes.
Just a 47% shooter, makes them both here in crunch time. 3:35 left in this contentious NEC semifinal. It's been a good game. St. Francis, New York on top of Wagner, 66-58. We'll be back.
Trees aren't the only things that grow in Brooklyn. Creativity grows in Brooklyn.
My mind grows in Brooklyn. My soul grows in Brooklyn.
Our team grows in Brooklyn. A cure grows in Brooklyn.
My world grows in Brooklyn.
The Brooklyn campus of Long Island University. Come grow with us.
When I come to see you, your eyes don't meet mine. When I try to talk to me, I can't get through. You tell me that you love me, that you really care, but you treat me like I'm not even there.
Is that how your bank makes you feel? Then discover what Dime customers know. You're worth more at the Dime. In the year 444 AD, the Incas were convinced they had angered it. In 1978, it destroyed top-secret spy satellites. In 1989, it knocked out Eastern Canada's communications. Every 11 years, the sun erupts, hurling pieces of itself directly at us. It's called Solar Max, and it's back.
Witness the awesome power only in the IMAX Dome Theater at Liberty Science Center. SolarMax. Here comes the sun.
In a battle for New York City, St. Francis, New York leads Wagner 66-58, 3:35 left in the ball game. Dave Popkin, Tim Capstraw, Paul Tatino with you at Sovereign Bank Arena in Trenton.
This is how good a passer Reyes is. Got the big guy taking it out of bounds in a pressure situation. You never see that. You never see big men taking it out. It's always guards. There he is again.
Wagner needs to press. Kabor knocks it out of bounds. St. Francis will keep it.
But are too cute. Need to make simple plays. Up 8, 3:23 remaining. No need to be cute for the St. Francis Terriers.
Kabor with the steal. Jermaine Hall, acrobatic move.
Fabulous coordination and elevation by Jermaine Hall. Wow.
18 for Hall, a 6-point game.
Terriers' lack of intelligence the last couple minutes is giving the Seahawks an opportunity, a chance.
Under 3 minutes.
The Terriers have committed some unnecessary fouls. They've turned it over on the offensive end. They just need to play good, solid basketball, stay aggressive. They can bring home the W.
5 on the shot clock. Abraham Reyes can't get it. Jermaine Hall is fouled by Reyes.
There's another one. There's another unnecessary, silly foul. Stops the clock. Wagner gets 2 free throws. They're able to set the pressure.
And it's Reyes' 4th foul. It's Jermaine Hall on the offensive end for Wagner.
Look at this. Agility. Right here, good kick by Dye, not handling it. Might have gotten away with one right there, but great balance. These are big, big free throws. Look at the body language on Ron Gagnon.
Hall makes it a 5-point game. Well, you're a former coach, and it's only been a couple of years since you've been out of it. You know what it's like to be up in a game like this and kind of see the lead slide away. What's Ron Gagnon thinking?
Well, he's concerned as guys, hey, you're seniors, you got to make good, smart, intelligent plays. And Wagner coach Dirk Wittenberg is just dancing and saying, hey, fellas, let's just keep getting after it. He's just pumping them up. No tension on his end.
Hall makes just 1 of 2. 2.5 minutes left in the game. St. Francis, New York with the ball up 5.
Seahawks are dogging him defensively. 15 on the shot clock. Big possession.
Greg Nunn. Not that time.
Got an advantage. Nunn is down. Identify the open player.
Pitcher blocked by Reyes.
What a big-time defensive play by Hayworth Reyes, and that wasn't the look Courtney Pritchard wanted. Coach Wittenberg a lot of time. 2 minutes remaining. Down 5.
But running out of possession, stolen by Jermaine Hall. And Hall goes in for the 10.
How about that? Wagner's only down 3. They're feeling good. They're getting aggressive. Denying everything. Watch the pressure. Eves Kapoor keeps on Nunn right now. Working them.
The lead was 10. 7-point run for Wagner. And Ron Gagnon calls time. And he doesn't have many left.
He's got 1 timeout remaining. Been pumping up Hayworth Reyes all day, but this time he's careless. He's 25 feet from the hole. That's not where you want your center. And Jermaine Hall strips him. An awful lot of unnecessary, unintelligent plays by the Terriers in the last couple minutes have given the Seahawks a solid opportunity. They're down 3.
Switch it.
Coach Wittenberg has in store right now.
Switch it. Switch it. 2
More emotion than anything else. Telling him to switch on defense. Ron Gagnon composed. The game reset with 1:28 left in the contest. 3-point game. Wagner has the possession arrow. Each team only 1 timeout left. Each team in the bonus. Stephen Howard has been quiet. Edwards with a rebound. Big chance here for Wagner.
Had Had a notion, Diedrich Dye did. Had a notion.
Hall loses it. Big pile up. St. Francis ball. Somehow, George Watts determined that it's St. Francis ball.
Wagner's going to keep the pressure on Wagner in that last possession. Got the replay right here. Let's see the scramble. Let's see who it actually goes off on. And that is not an easy call. It did. It went off Solomon Edwards. Great job. George Watts off his leg. Watch the pressure. Wagner just needs to play straight up defense right now. They don't have to foul.
1 minute left.
Still a one-possession game when you're down 3 points. Solid, straight up defense.
Dominguez has been great. He has 24. Senior leader, over 1,400 career points.
Get a 5.
Dominguez gets his own rebound. Reyes and one. Hayworth Reyes with the biggest basket of his career.
Big time effort by the big guy right there. Dominguez went down the lane. Hayworth Reyes doing a great job. See, that's what penetration does. A little help by Jermaine Hall. Just scrambling and the effort and the intensity. Great effort by Hayworth Reyes. There it is again. 1, 2. We said offensive rebounds would be huge.
Fourth foul on Hall. Reyes only a 62% shooter and he misses. 5-point game.
Doesn't have to be a 3. They just need something quick. And they can use a timeout and set the pressure. Down 5. 2-possession game.
Kabur blocked by Reyes, a goaltend. Score the basket for Yves Kabur.
If Wagner's going to use one.
They do. Timeout Seahawks with 25 seconds left. 68-65. St. Francis, New York.
This is a difficult call. The goaltending. Let's see how we can make the call on the replay from this angle. Tough call. That is a tough call. That ball is, you can't really tell. It's off his hands for a long period. Did feel like it was coming down a little bit. Good job by the officials. Have been very, very good all evening. Hayworth doesn't believe it, but needs to stay smart. Right now, Coach Gagnon is designing an inbound play to get to his top free throw shooters. Wagner trying to deny all passes. They'll switch all screens again. Try to get the 5-second count.
No timeout for Wagner, 1 for St. Francis, New York. Both teams in the bonus. Wagner will be in the double bonus, and they have the possession arrow in their favor. Will Richie Dominguez and St. Francis make it to the final, or will it be Diedrich Dye and the Seahawks? 25 seconds left.
Total denial right there. They're on the ball. Going to switch all screens defensively. Terrier's going to try to inbound to one of these 3 primary receivers right there. Howard, Dominguez, and Jason Morgan.
Wagner needs a steal.
They need the pressure right now. They can run out the clock. Good.
Wyatt fouls Stephen Howard, the best free throw shooter on the team, 85%. But beggars can't be choosers right now with 20 seconds left.
Yeah, not enough time to scramble. The Seahawks, once the Terriers got the ball in St. Francis, they had to commit the quick intentional foul.
If you're Wagner, though, when the ball comes into Greg Nunn, foul him right away if you're going to foul, because he shoots about 30% less from the line.
Yeah, but not enough time right now. You're just going to have to commit the quick intentional foul on whoever receives the pass. I always think this is difficult for a foul shooter when you take your offensive players off the line. Obviously, Coach Gagnon is saying, hey, we don't want to commit any stupid fouls, but it makes it a much more difficult shot for Stephen Howard.
Third best free throw shooter in the league, makes 2 in the clutch. 5-point game, 18 seconds left. Wagner down.
We need something quicker. Need to get a look, 2 or 3.
Water off balance. Jermaine Hall. 6 seconds left, and Howard is tied up. And that's a foul on the Seahawks, and that may have done it for St. Francis. They will go to their first Northeast Conference tournament final ever.
There's 5.5 remaining, and I don't have any 5-point plays or 7-point plays for the Seahawks. As Chris Jackson a little dejected. Nigel Wyatt played great. What a future he has. Stephen Howard hit those big free throws in the last has possession, and he's on the line again.
The senior-laden Terriers stepped up in the second half. They trailed by 13 in the first half. They trailed by 4 at halftime. Howard has made 3 straight free throws to give him 15 points, and Greg Nunn can taste it. Howard again.
It's over. Congratulations, St. Francis College.
72-65. Plauder. Just wasn't the Seahawks' day. St. Francis, New York, the number 1 seed, is going to the NEC final.
Major congratulations to Derek Wittenberg and the Wagner Seahawks. A great performance in this NEC tournament. Congratulations, making all the positive steps to a big-time program.
St. Francis wins it by 7. Very exciting game. We'll be back with the post game on Fox Sports New York.